Welcome to episode 6 of Vibes&Pipettors. Today we have a special guest, Destiny Ogbu from Chicago. Or do you still claim Georgia as your home?
Georgia's my home.
Georgia, you still claim Georgia? Okay.
Yeah.
So she's from Atlanta, Georgia. I think this is where she did an undergrad. Um, but before we get into her, we're recording right after Thanksgiving, so there's a lot of people that are still either applying to a graduate school or like waiting for their application to finish, or to hear back from the application. So we'll be giving tips at the end of the podcast. And now let's get back to our guest. So Destiny, before I'm going to start off with a very kind of open question for you. What is science a synonym of? What words do you associate with science? Let's start with something open-ended.
Work.
Okay, that's straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mix of like a lot of F's, like frustration, fun, uh hard. But also like, like when you learn something and like you see like how it could be applicable, it's almost like an aha moment. Like I think science could definitely be an aha. Or like, let's say like you've been failing this experiment forever, then you finally go to your PI and like they explain it and you're just like, wait, how did I miss that? Like I've been looking at the same thing you've been
Okay.
like, so like that feeling.
Okay, like paying attention to like small details or like little
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, for me, I would say it's more like exploration.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the word that I would associate with it, because it's like you get to do things that there's nobody else can like actually do. Like you're like the and usually the forefront of something. Like you're the only one person that can do what you can do in the world, really. Like I think that's really is very unique. Like you get to look at things for the very first time. It's like maybe like I like to think of the idea of like maybe looking at the microscope and looking at bacteria for the very first time.
That's a
Yeah.
really good
I mean, I think being at the forefront of discovery is like pretty exciting, right? Like being the first person to potentially like, discover something, see something, and introduce something to the world is, I mean, at the very least, like mind blowing, you know what I'm saying? So I would like to describe like our field as like a noble field. Yeah. Something that just like, requires a lot of like passion, requires a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, we already know, like I'm preaching to the choir when I say this. But yeah, graduate school involves like so much training, so much resilience, right? Yeah, just to like add knowledge to the world. But Destiny, I had like a couple questions for you. Like reading through your profile, I found your profile super interesting. I was curious, like what really got you into neurodegenerative diseases? Was it yeah, I would like to like pick your brain about that.
It was really just a work of chance. So my first lab, I worked in Huntington's disease. It's a genetic degenerative condition, and I was lucky enough that I got to look at brain scans. So I got to look at brain scans from different timelines of the same patients. So like I got to see how like a distinct region of their brain degenerates. And so that kind of got me like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. Like I'm seeing this change. And I guess I wanted to see, my interest is selfish. Like obviously I want to help the world, but it's my own curiosity. Like I think when it comes to neurodegeneration, like I want to learn for me. I'm motivated. Like that's what motivates me to like go into lab on a Sunday, for example, to see how some experiment could work.
Right.
Yeah. And so like I think like introduction wise, and it was also the atmosphere. My undergrad PI was very welcoming and warm. And so like with that, and it wasn't like I was working with different people. Like I just had one-on-ones with her. And so
Right.
I guess like having kind of that conversation, having like weekly conversations and weekly meetings where like I was just talking to her and we were talking about the changes in the brain scans. I was like, okay, I think this is something I want to do career wise.
Right.
But like, yeah, like
Right.
it so far the journey's been really fun.
Did someone in your family ever suffer from like a brain injury, or you just got into it one day? You're like, oh, the brain is a very cool structure. I want to just.
I think the brain's always been really cool to me. Like I first I wanted a more behavioral aspect, but
No, you're more
it,
structural.
it yeah, like I think I was the type of undergrad where like I did psychology because one, it was broad, like as an undergrad, but like I was also a little intimidated by neuroscience. It's just, oh my gosh, like they're smart. Feel like maybe if I just
Oh,
like
nice.
ease into it,
Might be better.
like, yeah, like maybe I can like get in. But I I don't know. I just loved it. Like, have you ever taken my first like psych neuro class? Usually I'm like demotivated because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so much work. I'm overwhelmed. But like, it was just fun learning it. I think that's what made me realize this is weird, but like at a young age, maybe it's passion
Hmm.
because it didn't feel like work.
Hmm.
Like it just felt
Like
nice.
you're just learning.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like
I
just
think you
learning
raised
to learn.
yeah, I think you raised a couple of interesting points. Like you talking about being passionate about learning about the brain, and you saying you think it's a selfish thing. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing actually. I think for people to actually like add value to the world, you need to like be aware of yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like be aware of like your traits, your values, and things that you can actually like, um utilize to benefit the world. And I think you are pretty self-aware. Like, you're a passionate person, okay, like I'm curious enough to like, sit down for this amount of time to learn about the brain. And not a lot of people can do that. A lot, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the fact that you are again self-aware like speaks volumes. And the you mentioned meeting your first mentor who like basically segued you into neuroscience. I think it's super, this is a great learning point for the audience. Your first mentor is
Critical.
instrumental, super
Hmm.
instrumental in like in shaping your personality and and mindset about science. I actually want to tell you guys about a story. So I was at a conference 2 weeks ago, and I run into my old mentor, like the person who introduced me into the prostate cancer field, and it was such a full circle moment. Like I got the opportunity to present like my research, my graduate school research to him, and it was just crazy. I just wanted to share that because
That's cool.
yeah, yeah, because it's so important for any aspiring, passionate person, passionate, curious person to identify someone who would, who would vouch for them, who cares about them, who cares about their growth and who cares about their growth and their learning journey in this field. Because
Hmm.
science is full of ego, science is full of
Hmm.
different personalities. Sometimes like some people are unlucky to like have not the best first mentors, and that might discourage them from actually like getting into the field altogether. So I'm super happy that like you met a great mentor, and I'll love you to shout her the person out if you want to.
Oh, of course, Dr. Jessica Turner.
Yes.
She's in Georgia State. She is
Nice.
phenomenal.
Nice. Awesome. So to the audience, this yeah, here you go. That's a great mentor that you guys can connect with if you're interested in neuroscience.
Yeah.
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 Was that
Yeah.
the first lab you were in, or just like the second,
Oh
like the
no, it was
second
the
lab?
first
It
lab
was
I
still the
was
first lab.
in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you do any like research prior to that, or not, nothing at all?
No,
Yeah.
not until like she was really like the first. Like I said, I think when it came to research, I thought it's the same way I felt about neuroscience. I was like, oh, this looks really intimidating. Maybe I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so I'm the type of person I need a PI I can talk to. Cause like, and like, I mean, even like now when I like mentor undergrads, I hope I'd be someone they can talk to. Cause like she had an open door policy, which was like easier to like, okay, Dr. Turner, I don't understand this.
Hmm.
Can we go over it?
Hmm.
And like,
Hmm.
I guess like she made time. And I know like
For you,
ego is
okay.
yeah, ego is like a big thing in labs. So it was I'm grateful, very grateful.
Okay. So you
It's
did
awesome.
the program in Georgia, and then what happened next? What ended up happening?
So after Georgia, she was actually the person that told me about prep. because I went to, I don't know the full word, but
Acronym.
I went to Abercrombs.
Oh, okay.
Like I went
Abercrombs
to an Abercrombs
conference.
meeting, yeah, to like present my research, and that's how I learned about prep. And like when you're almost at the end point, and I guess shout out to all undergrads who are about to finish and like don't know what they're doing. I feel like nobody knows. I was at that stage where I don't know if I really want to apply to grad school or med school because I couldn't really decide what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, I guess I wanted like more time to see what I like to do. So like that's what prep was for me. So, oh Lord, I applied to so many prep programs, and inevitably
One of them
it was a lot of no's. But like I had a mentor that was like, all the no's sound irrelevant once you hear one yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as you know the story, like our program director from UIC's prep, she called me like on the phone to be like, hey, are you still interested? And I wasn't even thinking. I was just, yes, please. I can come whenever you need me. And yeah, like let's say less, I'm there. And yeah, so then I got into prep, and I guess like going, because my undergrad research was not wet bench. It was more like looking at brain scans, a lot of data analysis.
Okay.
So it was definitely a learning curve getting into like wet bench.
Yeah,
And
but also coming into so prep is a post-bac program. Coming into this
oh,
post-bac program,
yeah,
you weren't necessarily going to the PhD fields, right? You were
no.
more you were dealing with different decisions. Tell us
Oh,
about how you ended up making the decisions. Like, what are the how did that process happen?
so I really didn't know, because like I had family pressures, like, oh my gosh,
Okay.
like being a medical doctor is the only way. But like I also kind of like I gave more time to research. So I guess it was a matter of realizing what I would do. Like it took some self-reflection, because like me personally, trying to get myself to study for the MCAT, there was nothing that could motivate me to open those books. They were just daunting to stare at. But if it's like, wait, I got this experiment to work. Okay, what if I just stay till 8 to see if I can like get it to work again
Mm-hmm.
and like have another replicate?
Mm-hmm.
That was not that hard a decision for me. So I guess it was really just saying, okay, I feel like there's one I clearly like.
Like more. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And
like how do I
being in the prep program did like reveal that to you, right?
yeah.
Would you say without that you would have like not been so sure, like not been so certain in what path you wanted to pursue?
Oh yeah.
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 Okay. Okay. So another important learning point for the audience, the prep is it's a NIH funded post-baccalaureate program which is offered by many institutions. Um, it's a great resource to figure out what you want to do after like undergrad. If you're interested in the science path, I would recommend and yeah, encourage everyone to apply to it. And spread your wings out. Say if location is not a issue for you or it's not a critical factor for you, apply wherever, and spread your wings, I would say. And I would also like to talk about, you mentioned the Abercrombs. The Abercrombs is the annual biomedical research conference for minority students. Another, I love that
And I'm gonna
conference.
say, did
Yeah.
you look the acronym up, or you just
No,
know
no,
it?
no. I remember. I've been there three
Okay,
times.
Oh
dude.
wow.
Yeah, I love it. Between 2016 to
LMFAO.
2018. Yeah. No, I that was like my best. I met so many friends like in the field in science, like through those conferences. Had a lot of fun, learned a lot, connected with so many like professionals. Um, and it really did help navigate my path to where I am right now, which is being a fourth year graduate student studying cancer research or molecular biology cancer research. So again, I want to encourage the audience to be very intentional about their path. There's so many great resources out there to get you to network with people who know more than you, who have been places that you might not have been, and can educate you and broaden your horizons. Mm-hmm.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
So Destiny, what do you, I mean, so Abercam, one of the things Abercam helps you is really kind of figure out what is it that you can possibly do. It's kind of hard to get a very solid idea job wise, like what you can do at Abercam. I feel like Abercam is mostly for like schools, like mostly schooling. Like if you want to like a job, you might have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's funny.
Still learning that, like, I guess what conferences are ideal for like jobs. Yeah, I agree. I think Abercrombs is it's good. It's a good gateway for postbacks.
In graduate school, like any kind of schooling, very good. But like job wise, I feel like it might be hard. You might need to go somewhere else.
No, school is cool, but training is more important. Or just training is just as important, if not more. So I think regardless of the level you are, if you like you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, wherever, just look up and try to find an opportunity, a research opportunity around you. I mean, I actually would like, my next question for you was, how did you actually connect with your first mentor? Like, did you, I don't know if I missed that, but would you like walk us through it? And yeah, would you mind walking us through that?
Yeah, of course. I don't remember the exact details, but I definitely am a little bit more personal, especially if it's one-on-one. So I think I met her in person, and one of my favorite advice about science is like when it comes to that, like treat everything like an interview, like you're both interviewing each other. So
Gotcha.
like I really liked her energy, to be honest. She was very like warm, even though like she obviously still had her goals. And I think as an undergrad, it's really hard to get a PI that will focus on you. So I was lucky enough that like I was part of the honors college, so I signed on to do an honors thesis. Hence, that's what developed our weekly meetings.
Gotcha.
So like I think that's definitely a good resource using your honors college, because for my school, not a lot of people use that as a resource. There's a lot of like hidden mentors that can really connect you to cool research labs, or if it's not that cool, connect you to other labs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if you don't have an honors college, I would say, or like you're not part of it, whatever your situation, I would say go in person. People are very amicable when like you're like face to face. So definitely that was like one of the easy way.
I think people really underestimate how helpful those around them can be. All you have to do is speak up, like honestly, speak up, have the bravery or courage to present your issue, present your circumstances to someone who you think might help you. A lot of people tend to be shy, tend to get in their heads about these types of things, and that ends up like dissuading them from actually even maximizing their potential. So I'm super happy that like you knew that you're a personable person. You I guess you thrive off of like personal like interactions, right? Like in-person interactions, like you said, and you banged on that, right? And that got you to where you are. So I'd like everyone to be very intentional, to be very introspective about like their qualities and that about your qualities, and use that to their advantage to like rise up the ranks in the field of science.
Great.
I also like to talk about your achievements. You mentioned that one of your most rewarding experiences was your first paper, which was a review article. Talk to us about that. About that moment when, like, it got published and everything.
Yeah. So I feel like this is just it was overwhelming. I think my first paper, I didn't realize the opportunity behind that. I was more so just like I it was, how do I explain it? Going back, I think my thing with science is, like when you're reading a paper for the first time, there's a lot of words that are coming at you and you don't exactly know what you're reading. So then you have to go back to like background material and read that. And like a review paper is essentially background material. So like I said, that was also intimidating, but it's, I guess it's the time. How do I explain the paper? I feel like I'm going everywhere.
So this was the paper in the prep, right?
Yes, there's two things I learned from writing that paper. it was a very, very big introduction to adult discipline. If there's anything you take away, at least from me, discipline will go so much further. Like, it is a marathon, and writing that review paper, it took months of me like going back, rereading my work, realizing, wait, that didn't make sense, Destiny. What am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say here? And not just from me, like obviously my mentor was reading it and sending it back to me. And just taking time to actually learn the back data, but also understand what you're trying to say to your audience was a lot of discipline. And I think the final product, because it was me and a med student that were writing it together, but I got the bulk of it because the med student is a med student and like he had to go back. So it was definitely rewarding. I'm very grateful for that. And it definitely was an introduction to discipline. Or like at least reminding myself it's a marathon.
Did you have to write during the same time of the day every day or something? Did you like schedule like, oh, we more like I'll just wait whenever?
No, so this is when the lesson came.
Okay.
I waited I waited until later.
Okay.
And had to, so for 3 days straight, I didn't do
Jeez,
anything.
just
I just read, reread. Like that's something I'm still working on now, like learning to pace myself. And
No,
I think
should honestly be
that's
like
why
that.
it was, yeah, like that's why it was rewarding because like like when well, I have a delusional approach to my abilities. I come in like, oh, I can do this. I'll be great. And then once I start, I'm like, okay, maybe not. And as I keep going, it's like, oh my God.
No, I mean, I think it's good to believe in yourself, like, to manifest, right?
Yeah.
No, I
Manifest is
agree,
it's a big thing nowadays.
but you have to be
Yeah.
realistic with your manifestations. And
No.
I think what? Oh
I
my
guess it
gosh.
depends
I
on who you
think
talk to, bro. Like, honestly. Some
so,
people some people are super ambitious, like, and talk like, I don't know, they want the whole world and they end up getting it. So I don't know. I feel like the sky's the limit, as long as you I mean, I'm just going to reiterate the things you said, like discipline, right? Discipline and consistency. Those are the two key things. I think that gets you the world, right? I actually want to like dig deeper into what you said, like in your journey in science, right? Of course, like you said, it's been ups and downs. Like most people tend to be result driven. Like, we want like results in 1 day or 2 days or something, but like science isn't like that, of course. Like it's a game of trial and error. It's a game of like messing up a lot only to figure out that it's your answer was something way different than you thought it would be. So what keeps you sane? What keeps you sane in your journey? You talked about your sister, like your interactions with your sister helps you a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what activities? Basically, I'm asking what type of activities do you do to keep yourself sane, to keep yourself consistent, disciplined throughout like your research career?
I guess little things throughout the day. So like I'm at a point in my life, I like bowls. So like let's say like I have a good day, my experiments went well, and I just like I go to a knickknack store, like Five Below or something, and I see like a really cute bowl. I'll buy it because like, hey, I did good today.
So bowl,
No,
what kind of bowls? Like fruit bowls or just like
no,
eating?
oh my gosh, they look so cute. It's like these low, deep bowls.
Oh,
It looks so artsy.
okay.
So like I will come home and like make pasta just so I can use the bowl
Mm-hmm.
because it just looks really pretty. And I mean, it's not just bowls, like decors, throw pillows,
I remember you
blankets.
started painting, right, too. Did you still paint
Yeah.
or you stop?
So another thing I'm working on is patience.
Okay.
So like I think painting, I like doing it because it does force me to be patient, but not as much.
Yeah,
I think
I heard baking too helps build patience.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
I don't think she's a good cook though, so let's not
Hater.
let's not go there.
Yeah, I
Wow.
feel like
Okay.
bakers and scientists are like parallels of each other. Like,
Yeah.
recipes are kind of the same thing as protocols, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know,
so
dude. So some is about some is I mean,
that's how I think of it. Yeah.
I think do you have any more questions, Jude? I have two more questions I want to ask her before we wrap
Oh,
up.
go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them is what do you see yourself doing after your PhD? Because we're like in the third year, huh? So we gotta
Yeah, we're candidates. I'll be honest, I don't know. One of my worst habits is I would try to plan a lot. If you remember when you first met me, I was like, I'm gonna do this,
We'll
this,
do
this, this. And I I hope I'm still doing science
okay.
and it still
Same
makes
way.
me happy.
Like a postdoc, or you're not going that route yet, or you're not sure.
Probably not a postdoc. I I don't think academia is my end goal personally. I don't mean anything like towards anybody who
Hey,
enjoys.
we're open here.
Yeah,
Anything.
yeah, yeah. But just I was looking on Instagram the other day and there's an influencer I follow that does patent law. And I was kind of interested in
And
that.
then
So
nice.
yeah, maybe learning more about that, especially
Mhm.
since like I work with stem cells.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind getting more like into like patents, maybe pharmacology. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, yeah, there's probably a lot of cancer related patent stuff happening, so that'll be a good field.
Yeah. I mean, it's not unusual for like people to go far away from like academic science after like their PhD, right?
Mhm.
A PhD like essentially like equips you with so many skills. I actually sent you guys a paper about it's an e-life paper that came out 2 years ago about the benefits of being a PhD student. You basically like learn it all, man. Critical thinking skills, management skills, you know, time
Mhm.
management, everything. Pretty much
Writing.
everything. Conflict resolution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How to write is
So
important.
so
yeah,
yeah, it's very multifaceted, and I think any successful like PhD graduates can enter any job space and have like some level of success.
right. I
Uh,
agree.
Another question I had for you, Destiny, is about what would you do differently slash advise your younger self?
Um,
And it could be with anything in science slash when you were applying to grad school, um, what the stuff you're doing now that you're like, damn, maybe I shouldn't I should have prepared more for this.
uh, I think I think I would try. I'm doing that now, trying to teach myself to like do this marathon that is grad school instead
Yeah.
of like putting pressure on
Like
myself to
like a race.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to learn, okay, let's say like I have a journal club in a week. Let's try and read for at least an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Just reading anything we can and like
Mm-hmm.
trying to practice like
Mm-hmm.
pacing myself. That's where my head's at right now.
Pace.
Mm.
That's a good it's a good it's a good habit to develop, I think. Because
Oh yeah.
I feel like we as like people growing up, I mean as kids pretty much we like say, oh, we have to become an adult. So we like speed up to adulthood as much as possible because we're like, oh, we're gonna be free or we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But then when you get to adult, you're like, wait a minute. This isn't this isn't
What
so
I
nice
signed
as
up
I
for.
thought. Yeah, it ain't that nice. So yeah, definitely pace is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, burnout is real, guys. Burnout is real. So just like Destiny's saying, learn to pace yourself. Discipline and consistency works wonders. I don't think it's a good idea to be super myopic about your like career expectations. Otherwise, you're just gonna go down a rabbit hole of like, I don't know, depression
Mm-hmm.
A
and
lot of pressure.
anxiety. A lot of depression and anxiety. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that tends to
Mhm.
happen to a lot of people who don't try to like keep their hobbies and keep things going for themselves outside of like science.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's very so yeah, these are really, really important points to consider
Yeah.
like for the audience. Yep, yep.
I think it's
Thank you so
easier
much,
said.
Destiny, for sharing your like your story. This is so inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. I was just gonna add on to what you said. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
I
No, go ahead.
think hobbies are like really important. And it's almost like you forget about it. Like you get so fixed in your bubble.
No, yep.
Time's gone by.
Happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy
Happens.
to forget as scientists that there's a world out there that's not science.
Right.
I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
reminder when you start talking to people about your project and you're like, wait a minute, what am I even what
No,
what
yeah,
am I even
right.
saying?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Some
But
people like log themselves in, coding for days on end,
mhm,
Yeah.
pipetting for days on end.
mhm.
Yeah, it's crazy. So don't be like that, guys.
Unless you have to,
Yeah.
because
Don't be
sometimes
like that. Go out, see the
that
sun, drink
needs
some water,
needed.
exercise, eat healthy, all that stuff. It's all important.
Mhm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all super important. That will get you to where you want to be, get you to like your best self, best life, all that.
mhm.
You Yeah.
Okay, I said I wanted to finish with like tips for people applying / waiting for application results. For people applying, I would say, I mean, what December 1st is usually the deadline.
December 1st is yes.
Yeah, so there's
The
not much
application.
time. I would say just like be mindful of like small mistakes because you can easily try to rush. So don't try to rush because that can be costly. And for people who already applied, I would say it's more important to just maybe still try to talk to people at the school. It's still possible if you're already sending your application, just so you can get a better understanding of how the interview process might go if you ever get an interview. Those are my two advices.
I think I talked to other prep scholars about this, and I think with the interview process, we tend to get like into our heads because it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be like, criticized and watched. And I think to kind of help you breathe, you have to remember like you're also kind of interviewing them. Like you can also like ask questions and see what you like about the program and what you don't.
Mhm.
And if you get super nervous that you can't think, it's okay to let whoever's interviewing you lead the conversation. Like by the end of the day, we're humans. We do enjoy talking about ourselves and our projects. So I think if you let them lead, it can help you kind of relax and think through your process, if that makes sense.
A good, great tip.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
How about you, Jude? Any last tips? Last word
Oh, I
of
wanted to end
wisdom?
up with showing kind of showing you guys the paper I was talking
Oh,
about.
go ahead,
Am
go
I
ahead,
sharing my yeah, I'm gonna share my screen if you
go
don't
ahead.
mind. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to show both you guys and the audience the benefits of getting into graduate school and getting a PhD. So as you can see, you learn a wide array of skill sets, like from knowledge acquisition to peer cooperation to mentoring, science communication. Um, you can get into patents if you are, smart, lucky, or both enough to, discover something super cool.
Mhm,
You can own it, make money off it for your life,
mhm.
which is so cool. Yeah. So I want to encourage everyone to read this paper. I'm gonna actually share the
The
title
title,
of it,
yeah.
which is right here, the research culture highlighting the positive aspects of being a PhD student from eLife. So check this paper out. I read this like during a really like downtime in my graduate school experience, probably in my second year, like right before my qualifying exam, when I was like really questioning like why I was doing this in the first place. And this, like after reading this, like I was like right back on track. I was like, okay, I know why the hell I'm here. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Yeah. So again, I'll encourage everyone to read this, to um take the advice from this paper and believe in yourself, believe in yourself, believe in your ability, be self-aware enough to use your traits to benefit you
Oh,
in the
shoot.
field of science.
That's a great point,
Like that.
Jude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings me to one last point. Like, if you're gonna have an interview with a PI, read something from them, please. Don't you show up with no idea of what research you're doing. So that's the best thing.